podcast, and we should be live. I'm going to obviously open that
link on Twitter
and check. You can update on Twitter now. I'm going to as well update on Twitter. I hope you can see us, guys. It's funny because I have two different accounts on. Hold on a second. Now you can see us, guys.
Okay, here it is.
There we go.
I'm going to grab the link, copy the
Hope the
link,
sound is
then I'm going to go
fine.
to Twitter and post the link as well.
It's funny because I have like two different YouTube accounts. Obviously, like one is my studio and one is my private. And when I'm logged in on my private, I get suggestions to go and watch MartaVerse. I'm like, yay! So anyway, yeah, we're live. It's working. We're going to obviously spread the news on social media and just make sure everybody can join us. 1 second. There we go. It's our episode 2. So I'm just going to try and get as many people as I can from my chat group as well. Did you send your tweet?
Yes, I did. I tagged you in it as well.
Awesome. Perfect. Let me share it. So maybe we'll just give it a couple of minutes before people, well, hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 at least to join us and start commenting and giving us some ideas what they would like to see in terms of chart requests and things, and maybe we'll just chat, you and me, because we were talking about this this thing with Sam FTX guy, and I said I would like to just bring it up because obviously it's causing a bit of a stir and people are reacting strongly to it, and it's just causing, a lot of concern across the social media, especially crypto. Twitter has erupted. There's been several big accounts following up on it. I know Crypto Ran has made comment, and also Wendy. There were a few people that like across the media, like I said, are talking about it. It isn't looking great, but you have your own thoughts about it, Bleeding Crypto, and you were saying
I was saying that basically, people are been, when we're in a bull run and we want the bull run to get started, everybody's welcoming the institutions to come in. They want people to bring in their capital. They're all about Fidelity coming in and Bank of America and JP Morgan. Yeah, come on in, guys. But people fail to realize that those guys, they live by a set of rules. They're not going to bring their pension funds. They're not going to bring in their huge hedge funds into an unregulated space. They're not going to do that with their clients' money. So if people really want the institutions to come in, then they better get ready for some regulation, some heavy regulation. One of the things that I do find it a little bit difficult to understand how that would work is the regulations that the FCC puts in place. They can only enforce it within the borders. So I think it's going to be a big challenge for them to try to enforce rules, for instance, in Dubai. There's a lot of, we have Binance going to Dubai. We have Bybit going to Dubai. We have a lot of crypto projects registered legally in Dubai. How is the FCC going to reach those people there that are not obligated to follow the FCC regulations? So there's going to be a lot of challenges ahead of us to try to come up with that scenario. I had one of my members in my Discord group actually had trouble today. He has a Binance US account He's in the US, he has a Binance US account, and he tried to send his tokens to an unregistered exchange that is not US friendly, and Binance would not allow him to do that transfer. Okay. So you can start seeing that that regulation starting to come down on those exchanges that are registered in the US. They're not letting them move their assets to other exchanges that are not regulated. And so he was like, wow, this is the first.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened before. This is something new that just happened to him recently. Okay. In the past, he has been able to do that. They just put this in place. So I think you're going to start seeing a lot of that stuff come up very soon, with a lot of people, on how they transfer their funds back and forth from unregulated exchanges to regulated exchanges. I had another one of my members a few weeks back. He uses a VPN, and he has a Bybit account, and he made the mistake. He didn't know it was a mistake. He took funds from Bybit and he sent it to Coinbase, and they locked his Bybit account out. They said, hey, you can't send to a regulated exchange, and they closed his account. So you're going to start seeing a lot of that coming into the space, I think, in the near future. And I think it's a bullish sign. And here's why.
Okay, interesting.
if the US is really going to start taking crypto serious, this is a good sign, because they know that the next wave of investors are coming in. They expect the next big move to the upside. So they want to make sure they get as much regulation in place as possible. Now, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen. They're gonna have it enforced. It's gonna be ready to go. I think that's gonna take a many years of trying to figure out how they're going to do it. But the fact that we're on their radar, it tells us that they are taking us a lot more seriously than they did 5 years ago.
Interesting. So you think it's actually bullish? Well, I think, just to go back on the point where you were talking about the difficulty that America, the US, is going to face. I get it. It's going to be something that regulators will be implementing within only US. But I feel a lot of European countries will follow suit, first of all. And another thing, what I think is, there's a lot of money in the US. That is definitely going to affect the market.
See, but here's the thing. Here's the thing with what I call Twitter traders. People on Twitter are not moving the market. It's the big money, the big institutions that are moving the market. So again, like I said in my opening statement, if you want another bull run, and if you want to take the same type of capital to come in like we had in 20 and 2021, you're going to have to expect that money is going to come with a condition. And the condition is, we need to follow the rules. It might not be this bull run, but again, like I said, it's bullish in the sense that if the FCC was not taking us seriously, they wouldn't bother with trying to put a framework in place or trying to put regulation in place. The fact that they are tells me that they believe that crypto is here to stay, and they need to get in front of it. I think they're a little too late to get in front of it. I think it's gonna be a big challenge for them to get in front of it at this point of the game. But nevertheless, they're going to continue to work on that framework to try to regulate it. If anything, I think it's going to make it more difficult. I don't think they're really going to fully be able to regulate it. I don't see how they're going to be able to enforce it. There's always ways around the rules. I don't play by the rules. I never have. That's just how I am. I always play outside the rules.
Neither do I.
When I see a rule, when I see a rule, to me that's a challenge. That's something that tells me, how can you? If you're smart, you can go around this rule. That's how I view rules. I don't live by rules, and I don't like the law to begin with. So, or my government to begin with. I love my country, but I hate my fucking government.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do everything in my power to try to go around that. But that's just my nature.
Awesome. I see we have few people already in the stream. So guys, don't feel shy one bit. You can start writing your comments. You can start putting in your requests. But what we're going to do is, I see you have a chart pulled up here, Bleeding Crypto. Maybe you want to tell us what you want to show us.
Oh yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the CME futures. So right now we just hit the previous high set back here in. Give me one second. Let me move this out of my way. The high back here on the 20th from yesterday's high. We actually breached it by 75 cents. So I'm looking to see, because this price action is going up with declining volume. I am expecting this to come down some. It's not really going up with any bull volume. So typically when I see this bearish volume divergence, I'm expecting this to top out at any time. And it'll usually top out at the prior resistance. And of course, since I wouldn't say we're heavily correlated with broader markets, but there is a relationship going on. As you can see, there are times more often than not that when this is going up, it pushes up crypto as well. So I like keeping an eye on the S&P and on the dollar just to see how it affects it. There's usually less effect in the weekends, like on Saturdays and Sundays, since the markets are closed. But during the week, I like having my futures chart open and my Dixie chart open just so I can see some of that correlation. And I saw that this morning. Actually, when we got that flush out this morning on Bitcoin, the moment that the S&P started to send me alerts that it was starting to pop up, I saw that right away with Bitcoin. It was going, tick for tick, it was going up on the lower time frame. So there is still a pretty close relationship between those two markets. So I think this is a way for me to kind of get a little bit of a grasp on where it's heading. If you see Bitcoin right now on the hourly time frame, it's pushing up. It's trying to push up as the futures are pushing up as well. But there's only an hour left in the trading day. I think an hour and a half left in the trading day. So this market's going to be closing up pretty soon. And then I'm curious to see what is Bitcoin going to do without the influence of the broader markets. Are we going to just put in a lower high here compared to yesterday's? What is this? Yesterday's was a 19,347. So you can see here we just topped out at 19,229. So this could easily be a lower high. And then are we going to put in a lower low? That's what I'm really curious about.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned with the market that. I think you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that we're getting these bounces are just getting less and less follow through.
Volume.
And that is concerning. That is concerning because what's going to happen is eventually that bounce, look at this bounce we talked about last week. This bounce doesn't even register here.
Yeah.
The little bounce that we had doesn't even register anymore. So eventually this steam is going to run out. The buyers are going to run out. They're just going to let this thing fall. The question is, how low are we going to fall?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you saw my chart as well. If you would like me to have a quick look, if I can share my chart as well, I will.
I gave you co-host permission, so you should be able to.
So you should be able to see my chart right now. Yeah. I'm just gonna make sure as well that you guys can see it properly. That's great. So with that, what I was showing today was just the type of quick scalp that could have been basically performed today. There isn't a lot that has been going on, and this is what we were discussing a second ago. There's no follow through with the bounces, but we were also speaking about how you've adjusted to the market and how you have been basically trading on 1 minute charts. It's a skill, but with my favorite indicator, and I was speaking about it last time, it really has been a very crappy range. And I mean, it does take a lot of skill to actually be able to catch those moves. However, with this particular indicator, it's really down to the risk that you want to take. Today was honestly, I didn't even know where this came from. I wasn't trading it. But if you were to bet on the market today, this correction and the bounce, you look left, you see the vector candle here. You see how low the vector candle goes, right? So, sorry, my computer is in the way. So this would have been at 18,405. However, what you take also into consideration is your basic support and resistance levels. I have several marked for a while and they've been very good to me. So this would have been one. And look basically how it just hit slightly below that resistance line, that support resistance line. But with the indicator that I use, you have the MPV points and the low ADR, which would have been the lowest in the range, basically acted as that bounce. If you wanted to enter this trade, it would have been, you would have to be like a sniper, and I mean like a bleeding crypto type of a sniper, where you are catching it real quick on possibly 15 minutes or even lower time frame, basing it off your support resistance level and your MPV points. Love this indicator because it really shows you where the interest zones are, and adding the confluence points like your supports. This would have been basically like risking high risk trade and understanding that, you know, this is where I'm going to place my stop loss. This is where I see the invalidation. This could be a typical Friday move where, you know, it's just a trap. And it was, you can tell by that wick how it just basically absorbed the liquidity and moved right back up. It's a very quick and sharp move. Not easily to catch. And what I was just saying as well today was, if you have been trying to trade this coin, now this is a very, very sharp move and really small range to even catch it at the very bottom. If Bitcoin is getting to you, if the market is getting to you, and you're not able to catch those moves, put it away. Put it away. I think it's very stressful at the minute. Market is not giving us anything. And it can really drive you insane. I mean, I see yourself, you know, you have your great routine, you have your routine. Sorry, I was just reading the comments on the chat. You have your skill, but I wouldn't advise on this. Anybody that's desperate right now to see some sort of some returns and rush to get, and definitely because the question is talking about the futures trading, do not start losing your mind and going with like 50x, even 25 or whatever, because it's the fastest, quickest way to get you wrecked and lose it all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. When I go in for scalp trades on the 1 or 5 minute time frames, I use a lot of the RSI2 for overbought and oversold levels, and sometimes it gets away from you. Sometimes you get out of a trade and it keeps on going. But you know, you kind of stick to your rule set. You wait for the next entry to come back to you, and you start over again. The market has not been very good even for scalp traders. The market has been very, very difficult. I would say in the past 2 weeks has been really tough. Today we saw some nice volatility, allowing for some nice scalps. Today's scalp was, I believe, was a little over almost 2.5% on the 5 minute time frame. But other than that, there's not much going on. Especially like you mentioned, these bounces are not happening. They're not giving us a lot of follow through. So it only, to me, indicates that the market is pretty much getting exhausted. And I'm a firm believer that the market right now is moving strictly towards liquidations. That's it. That's the mover of the market. It moves up to liquidate people, and moves down to do the exact same thing for those who are playing that. Now, you have to ask yourself, how much longer can that money continue to come in? I don't think it's going to be coming in much longer, which is why those bounces are getting so much smaller. That money is leaving. Tighter. That money is staying on the sideline. Yeah, it's getting really tight because people are getting tired of it. They want to get out of this range, and that is evident by how small these recovery bounces are becoming, smaller and smaller. So this is not an area that I would, like you said, for anybody who's unexperienced with trying to come to the market. This is not where you want to be in right now. No. This is strictly for people who are seasoned, who've been here a while, and even us, we're getting chopped up from time to time on trying to scalp these low time frames.
And would you mind explaining maybe why should people pay attention to Bitcoin pairs if you're looking to get into a trade?
You know what? Let me share my screen, and I'll give you a good example why I think it's good.
Because I think it's quite interesting. A lot of people don't do it. I don't do it quite often. I don't
do it as often. I do it as a passing by. So let me give you an example of I trade a lot of Ethereum. I don't trade altcoins because altcoins they're very dangerous in this environment because it doesn't take a lot for an altcoin to do 50, 60% or even double. In this environment, I do not leverage. The way I do a 1x, which means that the price has to go 100% for me to get liquidated. So if I'm going to do a 1x, I'm also going to stick to something that has a very high market cap. Ethereum, being the king of the alts, has a massive market cap that cannot easily double. And I think that the only time Ethereum is going to double is going to be during a bull market or a massive rally, which I don't think we're anywhere in that vicinity. So it gives me the confidence to say, okay, even if we get some bullish news on Ethereum, she's not going to double. You take a low cap coin that's $10 million, that can easily double in one announcement. The smallest announcement can make one of those coins double. So it's very risky. So in this market, I'm trying to lower my risk, lower my threshold for profit. I make up by increasing the position size so that I can capitalize on those small, 0.40, 0.67% trades. You knock out the fee of the contract, of the derivatives contract, depending on the exchange you're using, and then the rest is profit. So when I'm looking at Ethereum and BTC on the BTC pair, I'm basically looking to see which one has more strength. Does Ethereum have more strength, or does Bitcoin have more strength? So when you're pairing it to Bitcoin here, let me go to the higher time. I'm used to use the 1 minute, so it's right there. Okay, so on the 12-hour time frame, you could see here that if I'm a scalper, this is going to matter to me because as I'm seeing the Ethereum BTC pair, the Ethereum BTC pair moving up, that tells me, first of all, Ethereum is stronger against Bitcoin. So when I'm scalping in something, if I miss my entry, I can go ahead and have confidence, just wait for that pullback, come in and take the long position, take the position to the upside, because chances are that we are going up against Bitcoin. It's when I'm scalping, don't think that you are getting out of a long scalp and automatically flipping into a short and automatically it's not like that. It's not that glamorous.
It'd be wonderful,
when I'm scalping, it would be. And if somebody out there is doing that, my hat's off to you. I scalp in the direction of this pair. In this area here, this is telling me that my scalp positions are going to be to the upside because I have less risk of it getting away from me and going down because of my position size.
Nice retest. So, you can see it there as well.
You can see it here. So I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable waiting for it to come down and putting, a couple 100,000 to the upside. I'm good because I feel confident that we're going up. I'm not going to be playing the long scalp on this here. I'm going to be playing the short scalp. So what I mean by that is when we confirm that we're losing this dominance here and Ethereum is now weaker than Bitcoin, I am now shorting, I am now short scalping this down, because if it pops up and gets away from me, the odds are we're going to come down. So depending on the direction that the BTC pair is going, it's going to tell me if I'm scalping to the upside or if I'm scalping to the downside. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Absolutely.
And that's true with any pair. If you want to take any pair and look it up against BTC pair, that's what it tells me. Now, everybody reads this differently. Everybody's going to get different information, but this is how the BTC pair helps me to find a direction in which way I want to scalp. Do I want to scalp to the top or I want to scalp to the bottom? There are times, Marta, where I'll get in my groove and I will get out of a scalp long and go to a short automatically. But I got to tell you, it's really tough. It's something that I don't like to do because I feel I get mentally exhausted. You get just mentally exhausted trying to read every single direction, where when you stick to one bias, like here, I'm sticking to the upside. Every time I finish a trade, it gives me a chance to cool off, walk away, play some Xbox, go grab some lunch, go ride my bike, wait for this thing to come back down, and then start again. I find it that when I start trying to think I'm smarter than the market and I start playing both ways, I end up not doing as well as I do when I stick to one directional scalping, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Do you remember you had a very good idea, and I think it'd be interesting to do this, where we spoke about, I think, XRP last week.
Yes.
2 weeks ago. And I do agree, it would be absolutely great for us, for the viewers, for people to go back on the streams and learn something, because this is the idea of those streams, is to educate, to answer your questions, to show you what you can do in this environment or what you shouldn't be maybe doing. And like I said, any questions, feel free, guys, to shout. But Bleeding Crypto, we were talking about XRP, and he showed his projection of the trade, what it could possibly do. So I think maybe you want to explain it yourself, and I'll give the voice to you where we.
Sure. So we had the XRP tether chart open. Now, unfortunately, guys, I had removed a lot of that trading plan, only because the trading plan was to continue after this harmonic move that completed here, to move back to the 60 cents. And because the market is getting weaker and weaker, and I do like to trade sometimes I'll trade an altcoin that has a lot of liquidity, and XRP is one right now that has a lot of liquidity. So from time to time, my group and we will post some setups on here for shorting or longing. So I had to just remove all that noise. But for right now, guys, as you can see, this is no different than any coin. No matter how bullish you may be to a certain altcoin, it's hollow what the market's going to do. So what we can do here is that we can do a little bit of some TA on XRP on a local time frame. So we'll use a 12-hour time frame just to give us a little bit of a room to kind of get an idea of where we're at. Look at this. Look how nice. I love the fibs, because the fibs price action respects the fibs so well. And look at how well it respects 236. Look how well it respects the 50% line. Awesome. It just gives you a lot of clarity, and it helps you to do many things. So for me, when I see this right away, I think, okay, I can clearly define a range. She likes the lower range is a 50% on the fib, and the high of the range is right just above the 236. And if you think that's not a big deal, that's 14%, guys. So when you're a day trader, you're thinking of percentages, right, Marta? You're thinking, okay, I'm not making 60% off on the trade. We're in a bear market. So when you can define a clear range like you can here, that's a lot of money, guys. Think about this. You buy it here and you sell it at the line. Now, don't kid yourself. Nobody is catching the tops. Nobody is catching the bottoms, but you find a range that's getting respected. So if you think 14% is not a lot, think about this. You take the trade here, you exit here, that's one. Take it again here, drop it here, that's two. Take it here, drop it here, that's three. Within within a 3-week period, you just had 14% trades. And not even scalping, these are day trades. So that's a really nice return for one project, being able to give you that type of return in this market. So you have to search, and if this is your full-time job, you have to find whatever you can, wherever you can get it. And again, I recommend that if you're going to be day trading and you know what you're doing, that you stick to high volume and high market cap coins. Stay away from those small volume and from the small scalp coins, because very dangerous to get yourself in trouble with those coins.
100%. But what we were discussing, and I think it would be a great teaching tool and great exercise that we can show you guys, is understand what can potentially happen in the trade. And we're going to come back here in a couple of weeks' time and go back and see, has that happened, and were we right or were we wrong, assuming where the trade can go. And those plans, I think in this case, Bleeding Crypto is using fibs. You can use your own indicators. You can draw your own support and resistance lines as well. It's just to understand where your risk is, where your entry point is, where your stop loss would be, and where would you like to get out in the trade, and what makes most sense in terms of trading that asset and actually losing the least amount of money if it obviously goes the opposite direction. I think this is a perfect example. It's a very respectful coin. I agree. I love XRP for trading, for similarly to Ethereum. And there's just another thing I personally believe that is very underestimated is people learning how to trade one asset. You do this with Ethereum. There's many traders that concentrate on one or two and absolutely kill it, because they learn the patterns and eventually it just becomes like a blueprint in their head, and they're like, I've seen you do this before, I know the trick. But it takes time, it takes practice, it takes concentration. But we want to help here, and we want to show you what are the colorations, why would you enter the trade, what would be the confluences, and maybe where should you place that stop loss. Obviously, like I said, it depends on your own risk, but at the same time, I think with this setup, it would be very clear to see that invalidation.
Okay, I definitely like that idea, and we'll do that right now in a second. But I wanted to touch on something you just said that I think is very underrated, and most people don't appreciate or don't understand. Sticking to a coin and understanding, I like to call it its language. I think every coin speaks a certain language. And what I mean by that, guys, is that every coin will, if you look back to the left, to the history of that coin, it likes to either really respect the 50 EMA or likes to respect the 9 EMA. And it falls into a certain pattern that every time it hits here, it does this. Every time it goes back here, it likes to do this. When you recognize that pattern on each individual coin, it becomes so clear, and it alleviates a lot of the stress behind trying to guess what that coin is going to do. Every coin is going to play a little bit differently. I know we're all eager to make a lot of money, but unfortunately in this market, or really in any market, you don't want to try to do this with 10, 15 coins. It's very, very difficult. Pick one or two strong coins that you can relate to. And this type of technique that Marta was just talking about is invaluable. It really helps for you to identify where to take those trade setups, whether you're a scalper, a day trader, swing trader, a long-term trader. As long as you recognize within that time frame what you're trying to achieve, it's going to make things much, much quicker, much, much easier. Now, going back to what Marta originally said about let's study a coin like XRP, because this is a favorite for a lot of people. and I'm going to do this. I'm not going to erase anything we do today, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about where we think it's going to go, and then this way, in a couple of weeks from now, we can come back to it. We'll put some notes on the chart, and we'll see how well that a price action respected what we thought was going to do based on what we're going to be talking about, so that we can all understand, hey, you know what? I can relate to those tools that he's using. Let me go back to last week's session. Let me revisit timestamp, whatever it is right now, and then listen to the future podcast, and then you can then start understanding how these movements and what we look for as a trader. If we're going to be doing that, guys, we also have to analyze this coin with that in mind, meaning that we have to use high time frames. We're not going to analyze a coin on the hourly time frame if we're not going to touch this for 2 weeks. It's going to be completely invalidated by Sunday. So since we're going to be doing this every 2 weeks, I'm going to be sticking to the daily and to the weekly, because we're going to be revisiting this 2 weeks from now. But the daily is going to provide me a little bit closer look on what to look for, and I'm also going to be looking at the overall picture on the weekly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start on the weekly, and I'm going to put the fib here on the week. So I'm going to put the prior high, which is 55.90, and the prior low, which is the swing low, which is this right here, the 31.20. So let me just change that real quick here.
If you have any questions, guys, to what Bleeding Crypto is doing right now, please work away. There's few of you watching. I can read out the questions because I'm looking at the chat. Feel free. If you're confused, if you would like for us to go over something again, we'll be only happy to do this, because like I said, we'd love this to be like a teaching, like something that we can all look back on and get some conclusions out of, and hopefully this will be a helpful session for you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, just let me know, because I can't read your question, guys. So if you put it on the chat, then at least Marta can let me know what those are. So the first thing I look at here is, when I look at something, first thing we all want to know is this bullish or bearish? To me, it says it's bearish for a couple, and this is the first thing that goes through my mind. I look at the RSI and I look at the market structure. We put in a high of 55.90. And we put in a high here on the RSI, but then we put a higher high on the RSI, but we put in a lower high on the price action. So even though this is going up, the RSI is going up, the price action is actually going down, which actually tells me that this is actually a bullish divergence. However, what I don't like is how this I don't like seeing M patterns in a market structure. I don't like seeing the way this is climbing, and the negativity that we're losing the 50%, the 50-point mark. But the bullish diversions that we're putting in higher highs and we're putting in lower lows does give me a little bit of confidence. The 9 EMA is what strikes me as the most telling. The 9 EMA is where I love to look at when I'm trying to find support on a coin. So if you can see to the left here, that's my go-to.
Oh, that's your weekly
9 EMA
chart.
is my go-to.
That's your weekly
chart.
Yeah, and you love the 9 EMA.
I like 9 EMA for almost any time frame, because what it tells me right away is, are we bullish or are we bearish? When we're underneath the 9 EMA, I know I'm bearish. When I'm above the 9 EMA, I'm bullish. So we're holding the 9. You can see where we broke the 9. However, we got bought up. We got bought up and we stayed above the 9. So that to me is bullish. What I don't like is the 200 EMA and the 30 EMA is acting as a very strong resistance. So I don't like that we cannot break above it. We keep on wicking down. We keep on closing below both of these areas here, but we are holding the 9 and we're holding the 0.50. When you're looking for continuation, guys, when you're looking for a move to the upside, when you're looking for a higher low, you don't want to break the 50% line. The 50% line is what you want to look down for a new higher low. So this tells me that I'm going to be looking for a new higher high and then a push back down for a higher low. That'll give me that upward structure like the RSI is giving me here. So I do like that we're also putting in We're also putting in a little bit of a bull flag. But everything that we do here on an altcoin, we have to keep BTC in mind. And this is the reason that I trade BTC and Ethereum only versus an altcoin, because since they're the leaders, we can look at this all day and look at for bullish divergences, and we can look at setups. It could all go out the window if Bitcoin does not cooperate. In a bull market, when we know that Bitcoin is in an uptrend, this becomes easy. This is easy because even if you get it wrong, you know it's going to go up. It's just going to continue to go up. In a bear market, it becomes a little bit more difficult to swing trade or to day trade. Personally, that's why I like to scalp. It's much quicker. The times, the chances of it going one way or the other or getting away from you are much lower than in a scalp trade than it is in a swing trade. Because in a swing trade, I'm looking at a week, 2 weeks from now. What's going to happen in 2 weeks from now from Bitcoin? A lot can happen in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now. So
or nothing.
We're gonna do. Yeah, exactly.
Like
or nothing.
The last 4 months.
But we're gonna do. Yeah, exactly. But we're gonna do two scenarios. We're gonna do if Bitcoin is going bullish. What am I going to expect from this coin? So if Bitcoin is cooperating and we're going up and we're having a little bit of a rally, I'm going to be looking for a higher high off of this 0.50 a fib, because like I said, this respected the higher low. So I'm looking for a higher high for a continuation. So I'm going to be looking at this here. I'm going to be hopefully watching out for a break of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be setting some alerts here. So when that we break this area of resistance here, that I'm going to get alerted that we are starting to move in that right direction, and we're hopefully going to be putting a higher high. Now we got to look. I'm an EMA trader as well, and I'm looking at this 100 EMA right above the prior swing high. That I know is going to be an area where we're probably going to get some resistance. And if you look to the left, look at the way that 100 EMA
I look at them
towards
as well.
the price action.
Yes,
look at that.
Yeah,
a lot of resistance.
How many weeks?
What does resistance
react to that?
What does resistance do? Well, exactly. How does it react to it when you're underneath that and you're going up? That's going to be your first point of major resistance. So that 100 EMA, I know it's going to be major. If we can break above it, more than likely, we're going to continue to a much higher target. Now, I'm also a harmonic pattern type of trader. And in these higher time frames in this market, it's very difficult. It's not, this is easier when we are applying ourselves in a smaller time frames and in a daily time frame. These will play out much easier. In a weekly time frame in a bear market, very, very difficult. So this here is going to be the harmonic pattern. Now, I snap a line here because this line here tells me this is the end of the harmonic pattern. I basically take the low to the high, then I clone that. So this is AB equals CD, and this is going to be the area of where I'm looking for this move to end. Now, as a trader, we want to look for confluence. So what I like to do is that I like to go to the left and see if I can find some confluence based on the end of this harmonic pattern. I'm going to go to the left. Do I find anything inside of this white line that gives me some indication? And right away, I find resistance, support, resistance. I move forward here, and I see here that if I were to adjust this line a little bit better, I might get cleaner reaction. And I don't care that I'm going outside of the parameter of the harmonic pattern, because I believe that support and resistance is going to outweigh the harmonic pattern, meaning that this carries more weight to me. If the harmonic pattern tells me that the end of the harmonic pattern is 6620, but I'm finding that I have a strong area of support up here and resistance here, I much rather play it safe and take the lower target than the higher target, because I'm in a bear market and I want to try to get as much profit as possible as quickly as possible.
Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, guys.
Exactly.
This is it. This is what really, really destroys every trader. It's that hope and greed, thinking it's going to go higher. Let's go for that higher target. No, this is excellent a point.
Yeah. Now, you know what I just noticed right now too, and this actually fits this 50%. fits actually with the cup and handle pattern. And if you look at this, guys, I'm actually going to take this off of here for right now. If you look at this, closing, the opening of this handle here with the wick here, they're pretty leveled here. And when you look at a cup and handle, when you guys get a chance, go to Investopedia and look at the rule set of a cup and handle. A cup and handle says you've got the right side should end where the left side began, where that cup is, and then the drawdown is 50%. We met those parameters. So this this bull flag that I was talking about actually fits the cup and handle pattern. And if that is so, there's actually a much more, probably a better bullish target. Let me look at this real quick here. Let me take off my magnet for 1 second.
But just something, before you go on, I just thought of something that's very interesting to note. Because XRP is in the middle of a massive loss, right? There's so much happening. And what I just would like to note for anybody that's watching this, we are doing this analysis based totally on technicals, on levels, patterns. But imagine that what we're seeing here right now, in a couple of weeks' time, it turns out there is some major bullish news for XRP, and this plays out. I don't follow those news to the T. I pay attention, but I'm not massively involved. There's just too much going on. I don't think yourself, Bleeding Crypto, you have your eyes on that case either. We're not basing it on the news, but it's just very interesting to remember that what you see will be reflected eventually. It might be reflected eventually in the news. Because like I said, recently there was just a lot of heat, or I don't know what was exactly going on. There was some win for XRP, and we saw that amazing push in the price. Now it's correcting, but I like the way it's shaping up. Whether there's going to be news to reflect that bullishness, we have to wait and see.
And this is why I said I'm going to do both scenarios. And the end of this cup and handle, guys, pretty much ends right here. However, I'm going to do the same thing I did before with the other harmonic pattern. I'm going to adjust this just slightly down because I want to encompass this resistance and this support area here. Now, what Marta said is really important, that an event, in my opinion, a very bullish event would have to happen for this to play out, because I have a bear bias. I have a bear bias because of what the market is telling me. So I don't think that this scenario can play out. And the only way this scenario can play out, to be honest with you, is a news event or Bitcoin all of a sudden turning bullish. All of a sudden the institutions say, you know what? I want to go ahead and invest in the most riskiest asset, even though the economy is falling down. I just want to spend billions of dollars and push up crypto. So that's the only way that I see this pushing up. The more likely scenario, and this is a scenario that nobody wants to hear, because nobody ever wants to hear the bear scenario, but I'm going to give it to you anyways, because if it does play out bear, you're going to be prepared and you're going to understand what we were looking for on a bear scenario. So I don't want to, let's see here. I'm trying to figure out how we can do the bear scenario without making it too noisy.
Can you not open another XRP chart?
Yeah, I'll do it
maybe
on a different
exchange. Or even on a different exchange.
XRP USD. I'll do it off of Bitfinex. I'll do it off of Bitfinex.
That's not XRP. Sorry, that's XRP.
Oh, yeah, XRP USD. I'll do it off of Bitstamp. Okay, perfect. Let's do it off of Bitstamp. Let me remove these drawings here, and let me do this here. I'm going to just.
So right now we have the bullish pattern, we have the bullish target. This obviously will clearly give us the invalidation, because we're going to try and find the bearish scenario, the bearish target here, and possible scenario that will play out to the opposite side, to the upside, and that will give the invalidation obviously to the bullish scenario.
Yes. Now, on this one here, I'm going to give, like we mentioned, the bearish scenario now. And I'm going to take this one here as our swing low. And in case you're asking, why are you taking the COVID swing low? Because this COVID swing low that was at 11 cents, we had a nice move to the upside with a nice retracement. So what I don't usually, I won't count those. So some people do. I don't. Once a, oh, you know what? Let me get this thing out of here. Once a high and low has been established in a retracement, like this retrace right to my favorite fib, 886. This to me, this move is over, is done. So now I'm going to take the previous swing low. So to me, this one right here is the next swing low. This next swing low is 17 cents exactly. So I am now going to take the top of this move here to the bottom here. And this is, let me double click on there. Okay, so that's the bottom low. Now, on this entire move, we gave back and we gave pretty much went right to 886. Again, guys, you'll always see me refer back to 886 because it's one of my most favorite bottom targets to get. And it always, these just happen to hit 886. And again, and just for the record, 886 is not a Fibonacci, part of the Fibonacci sequence. Only thing in the Fibonacci sequence is 236, 382, 618, and 786. The 0.50 is not a Fibonacci. It's a Wall Street indicator that got adopted inside of the Fibonacci sequence, and you can again look that up in Investopedia. 706. There was a trade that was very active before. He's still from time to time Chingus X. He's been one of my mentors since I started trading. He brought this one to my attention years ago. Very accurate. You can see it. Look how well this 706. So I adopted it based on his recommendation. Same thing with 886. So when I look at 886 and I see this here and I'm looking at the market condition and I'm thinking, okay, in 2018, when coins dropped down 90%, let's look here. This one dropped 85%. When Bitcoin did its last leg from 6,000 to 3,000, the alts continue to drop another 50%. So based on that, loosely, what I will do is that I will take the high of where we've been, and I will say, to be fair, if we drop another 50% from here, we're probably looking somewhere between there, and I will take the current price, and I will say 50% from there. And what that tells me is I am going to be looking at between 26 cents and probably the 20 cents. In that area is where I think somewhere in there is going to be the bottom. Now I'm going to ask myself, how much do I believe in this project? Do I think this project, if I'm a long-term investor, do I believe that this project is going to last? It is. So why try to catch the bottom? Why not?
DC.
Right there, since this is this area, let me turn this to green. Right here, 31 cents, and I'm thinking 26 to 20 cents is going to be the bottom. Start buying right here. Start buying. Start nibbling. Guys, we're not going to hit a bottom and go right up to a bull market. That's not going to happen.
No.
It's never happened before, and that's not how markets work. So when we find a bottom, guess what's going to happen, guys? Nothing. It's going to be very boring when we find a bottom. We're going to go sideways for a really long time. The market is designed to wear you out. So during that bottom, when you start buying again, wherever that bottom is going to be, you'll have a much clearer picture, and you continue to DCA. When it goes back up, you can continue to DCA until you hit a certain threshold and just let everything else ride. I mean, you can continue to buy as high as you want. You've already established an anchor with these buys down in here. But my point is that you want to start buying on the way down into a respectable zone. I don't think that right now is a respectable zone, but that's my opinion. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to have to pay for it by having to buy this coin here or here or here. So don't take, again, I should have said this in the beginning. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. And don't blame me if you're waiting for 31 cents and 31 cents doesn't come. But I'm trying to explain to you my mindset and how I approach an altcoin. So if I really wanted to buy XRP, I would buy it at 31 cents, and anything below that is a gift to me. And I actually I'm a big believer in stink bids, and I think Marta could. She's been here longer, just as long as I have, and we have seen some crazy wicks back in 2017 and 2018 to the downside that you would think that would never happen. There was a wick on, I think it was Bitfinex or Bitstamp on Ethereum back in 2017 that went to 10 cents. It went to 10 cents, guys. It was insane. And the exchange actually, the people who had stink bids and got filled, they let them have that Ethereum. But they were nice enough because they were trying to build that rapport with the community, that all the people that got liquidated on that fall, they reset their bids so they didn't get liquidated, and it was like nothing ever happened. But the people who caught that on the buy orders, they got to keep that Ethereum. So imagine, and I'm sure they did it, guys. You know why? But there probably wasn't a lot of people that had bids to 10 cents on Ethereum. But there were a couple of people on Twitter that did post. They had a bid. They didn't think they would ever get filled, and they got filled. So it's one of those things, and not just Ethereum, guys. It's happened throughout the years where you see some random coin just gets a dip down, and you're like, oh my God, what happened? You don't know the situation of a big whale. He has a death in the family, he has an emergency, and he needs to liquidate. And when there's not a lot of liquidity in a certain exchange, and you dump everything you have on a market sell, or they make a mistake and they market sell, you're going to see that, and you have a good chance of catching it. So if you are a fan of this coin, put them at 27 cents, put them at 25 cents, put them at 22 cents. You may wake up to a wick that fills your order, and you're instantly in profit. You have now created that shelf, that anchor down below that is going to lower every buy you make from now till you hit this bottom floor. So it's just a good rule of thumb. Now, moving forward to talk about the bear scenario of what I think is going to happen here. If we're getting to that really reducing bouncing ball effect with Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin drops and sweeps those low of 17, I think we're coming down bare minimum to this here. So this is my target for, I'm going to write this down on my chart because I want you guys to pay attention. If this happens, why I thought what I think. If BTC sweeps lows between now and the next time me and Marta have the next show, I believe this will hit. This will hit support. So this is the support. So basically, if we see Bitcoin sweep lows and we stay where we're at right now, we're going to hit this here. Bare minimum, I think we're going to hit this. Now, if Bitcoin decides to go down to 14K, I'm looking to the left. Again, guys, remember, I'm looking for prior resistance. I'm not looking for prior support. I'm looking for prior resistance to be my next area of support. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Why did I draw this line? Look at this shelf right here. Look at this resistance here. Support. Look at this support. Look at this support here. So this area here tells me that if Bitcoin comes down to say the $14,000 range, I'm gonna write this on my here. If BTC hits, let's just call it a 15 to 14K zone, we should hit this. We should hit this. One of the things that I like to do, guys, I don't know if you ever heard of the rule, the 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 rule. The 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 rule means that for every 1% that Bitcoin goes down, generally you see altcoins drop 2 to 3%. 2%. High market cap like XRP normally will drop down 2% against Bitcoin. Low market cap coins, say coins that are under 100 million, they normally do 3-to-1. So for every 1% that Bitcoin goes down, it drops down 3%. And in your own time, guys, back test what I just said. Go back in history, look at when Bitcoin has fallen a certain percentage, look at that date, Go back to your altcoin and you'll be amazed. You're like, oh my God, this thing, 3-to-1 is about the average. So if we think that Bitcoin, let's go back here and let's look at percentages now. If we think that Bitcoin by next week, let's just say it comes down to 15,000, to 15,000. All right, say 15,000 because everybody wants 14, so means we're not going to get 14, we're going to get 15. So that's 21%. So that tells me that I'm probably going to hit about 40 to 42% on XRP. Now, let's see how. Remember, this support was based on this prior resistance. Do we find any confluence on that?
Are we going to see? So look at that.
Exactly, 42%. And guys, me and Marta did not practice this. I'm doing this right here live with you guys. So this is the type of stuff that always makes it fun for me because I feel like we're in the Matrix.
This is it. I feel like that's why I love it as well. It's just
it's incredible.
It's
I literally said 2-to-1, 21%, 21 times 2 is 42. And we hit it exactly. And I only picked this line because this was prior resistance. I'm not making this stuff up, guys. I mean, this is the kind of things that I know some of you guys are like, oh, they rehearsed this. No, we didn't rehearse it. But when you understand the language, when you understand the market structure, when you understand the relationship between Bitcoin and altcoins and how they interact with each other, this stuff
it
will happen every day. Yeah, it's like a cheat, exactly like a cheat sheet. Exactly. And me personally, I never get tired of it. It always amazes me when I see these figures work out almost exactly because it's just, I think of the movie The Matrix. It's like we're living in a predetermined world
Many
and everything's just
that.
lined up for us. Yeah, yes. And it makes it hard to not believe you're in the Matrix. But here you go, guys. So this is a really good example of how I like to forecast future moves. Doesn't mean it's going to play out exactly the same, but it's going to give me a good understanding. And why is that important? Guys, if you're new to this space and you haven't lived through a big drop, a big move, here's why this is going to be important. When I was new and I didn't understand a lot of this, when these drops would happen, there's two different reactions you're going to get. One, from a guy like me that was new, I'm going to feel panic. I'm going to feel uncertain. I'm not going to know what to do. And then you have the professionals. They don't react. They just look and go, okay, there it is. There's my orders. They got filled. They already anticipated. So it isn't a surprise. It isn't a shock. They're not figuring out what to do. They already planned it. They already waited. They've been waiting for a long time for their plan to pay out. And that's why you hear all these traders on Twitter always talking about you need patience, patience, because the market is here to create uncertainty. And patience is going to be your best friend. And it's going to be the hardest friend you ever have because we're all in a hurry to make money. And the market is never in a hurry. Only you are. So when you have a plan like this, you're going to be excited. Where other people are going to be fearful, you're going to be smiling. You're going to be like, oh my God, on Marta's show, we talked about this. My orders got filled. This is amazing. And it's going to give you that passion and that love for trading. And when you have it, you'll know when you have it. When you're not scared about the charts, when you're not scared about things falling, that's when you've already started to grasp that love for TA. And you may not. You may think, this is too boring. This is not for me. And that's okay. But we're looking for those people, those 1 or 2 people out there out of 100 that are going to be the next Castillo Trading. They could be the next Nebraska Gooner. The just really good traders that just love this space. They're in it 7 days a week. You see us on Twitter, guys. When do you see Marta not post something ever? We're on here 7 days a week because we love what we do. Absolutely. We made our vocation our vacation.
That's it. And like that, this is absolutely exactly this is what made me fall in love in trading. And like you said, it's not for everybody, but when you do see it and when you actually, it's like, I'm not a nerd. I've never been into like a finance or
You are now. Whether
I
you want to
love
believe it or not, you're a
maths.
nerd.
But it's just absolutely so fascinating and mesmerizing how
It
everything is
is.
just like it's I don't how many times I've seen my trades play out and I've seen those exact numbers be hit, and it's just a fantastic feeling. It's incredible where you understand, like you said, that language, and it's not even about being right. And don't get it, guys, wrong. Don't get it in the way that you're trading and you're starting to see things that are playing out, and you're understanding those resistances, supports, and how it can happen, whatever. But then it doesn't happen. It's not about being right. It's about how you respond to those situations and whether it still fascinates you and keeps you hooked. And if you really want to be doing it and you feel in charge of yourself, because again, obviously there is this factor of gambling, and you'll be coming into this space and thinking, oh, it didn't work out, I'm gonna risk more and the next trade is definitely going to work out. This is not what we're talking about. It's about understanding what's happening in the market, and it is also something that will happen in time, and that patience that Bleeding Crypto was talking about, and the time you're going to give yourself to see it all make sense in your head, and see it all really like grow in you, and you're going to learn to control, like those big market movers, like those people in, on Wall Street. They are not sitting and looking at the chart and panicking over, oh my God, I'm going to lose money here. They know that most likely they're going to lose money, but it's their risk assessment, it's their calculation, and it's how they approach the situation and what happens after the price does what they didn't want to do. So it's not for everybody, but it's absolutely wonderful and fascinating when you do it right and when you approach it in the right way.
If you guys can take a screenshot of this, I think it'll be very helpful as well. Take a screenshot of your computer, take your cell phone and take a picture of it, and keep this. Keep this, understand it, follow it, fact check us, figure out when we hit certain levels, if you understood why we hit those levels. And the most important thing for you that you can do is ask, ask, ask. If you don't ask questions, you are never going to learn. If you just sit there and watch us do this and not ask any questions, chances are you're not going to really understand, because you probably have 1,000 questions. I know I did. When I had so many questions. And if you don't ask, how else are you going to grow as a trader, if that is indeed what you want to do?
So important not to be afraid to ask questions. And there isn't a question that is silly or bad or, so absolutely I agree with you, Bleeding Crypto. I think we might be wrapping up soon. I don't have many questions here in the chat, but there was one request in Twitter. If you let me share the screen now.
Yes. Let me go ahead and
there was a coin. Let me try and do this. I think this is what I wanted to do. Is it share this? Okay. I'm sharing the screen. Yeah, perfect. Just want to make sure now as well what you can see, guys. Okay, you can see this now. What I need to do, sorry guys, this is just I've tried my best this time and make sure that there's no awkward, weird screen grabs and screen messing on my end. I think the coin is called coin. Okay, let me double check. If I can't find it on
there's coin, but that's in the stock market. That's the Coinbase coin. Or are they talking about a crypto coin?
I don't know. I think, let me just go and check again in the
Because TradingView does have a ticker for coin, COIN, which is Coinbase.
It was spelled with K, I think.
Oh, really? Okay, then it might be.
Maybe
I don't really follow. I mean, there's 20,000 altcoins. I don't.
So many. Yeah, I think it's called Coin. Now, if I don't find it on.
Let's see here.
2 seconds, guys, because I'm trying to.
I see it. It's a Uniswap, I believe. Hold
Is
on.
it? Yeah, it's. Are you?
Yeah, it's a Uniswap on Ethereum pair. It must have just came out. There's almost no activity to it. Oh yeah, this is not a coin that I would even touch. It looks.
I think it's just a request
terrible.
from guys that are watching and they're interested. So I'm just going to put in the Uniswap just to show you guys. It's just from requests. Obviously, this looks crazy because there's obviously no liquidity here. Let me just check. I think the guys would be, when they request charts like this from me, it's just to find out where they could possibly enter. I think I can see why it's appealing because of this massive launch wick where it just dumped from 80 cents all the way down to wow. What don't know what this coin is. Again, what I will do is just give you my best shot at levels that you can look out. First thing I see is obviously my favorite indicator is those green vector candles. I don't know, it's this, what is this doing? I'm looking at the weekly chart. There's no support, there's no resistance going up. It seems to be pushing for some reason. Very high RSI here. This is the daily chart on the 15th October. This is correcting here now. If anybody's entering this right now, be very careful because this is obviously resistance here, and that will be so let's push that higher to that even wick here. You see it how it's just wicked above, and I can see it becoming a double top. If this pushes up above this level, the 359, it will have to stay up there, and it would have to give you support. So many zeros, so many. You'd probably go with the Fibonacci, would you?
On this coin here?
Yeah. I mean, it's so
honestly
hard with coins like this.
I would tell people to stay away from this. And here's why, guys. Look, I don't know about fundamentals. I don't know what this coin does, and I don't care what it does. I'm looking at it strictly technicals. And this is what I see. This big, huge red candle to the downside. What that tells me is that before this came to market, you had this project that basically raised funds outside with VCs. So they raise the funds, they raise the money. And when you see a drop like that, that just means that the moment that this hit the market, all those VCs basically just dumped. They just dumped and they made their money. Now what they're trying to do, they're trying to find the next wave. They are trying to hype up the project. I mean, think about it. You come to a market that has nothing but a red candle to the downside. What other reason are you going to buy it other than hyping and promising and telling you this is going to be the next greatest thing? We're in a bear market. These coins don't take much to pump because they're low liquidity. Yeah. So the same fees that made all that money on the way down, all they have to do is get the ball rolling. They're going to tell you how great it is. They're going to invest a small portion of the profit they made. They're going to create a beautiful green candle that you think is like, oh my God, here it goes, here it goes. I don't want to miss out. And you start piling in. The guys on Twitter start piling in, and all those guys, all the VCs are doing. They're sitting back, going, "Oh my God, this is too easy," and they're going to dump on you again. For me to get into a coin, I need market structure. I need to see it come into the market. I needed to establish a low. I needed to establish a top. I needed to come back and retrace, and then I need some consolidation. Inside of that consolidation, that's where I'm going to want to be buying. I don't want to be buying when it comes into market, when it's trying to find a top, when it's trying to find a bottom. I don't want no part of that. But that's just me protecting my capital as a trader in this space for X amount of years. Most people that buy these coins, they're not traders. They're from Twitter. They're a friend of a friend who told you about this coin, and you're just dumping money into it and hoping that you're going to get rich and hoping that you're going to, 10x or 20x your money. And more than likely, you're not. You're going to do it in theory. You're going to see your money go up 10x, but you're never going to pull it out, because when it hits 10x, you're going to wait for 20x. When it hits 20x, you're going to wait for 50x. And by the time it drops, guys, you're going to see an ugly red candle that nobody was able to catch other than the VCs. Because the moment you see that red candle, rather than get out, you're going to convince yourself, oh, no, wait, it's going to bounce. I'm going to wait. It's going to bounce. And the bounce is not coming. And if you think that I'm full of baloney, look at this coin and go revisit this coin in a few months from now, and let's see what it did. And wait till you see that ugly red candle coming in, and I'll guarantee you that all the Twitter traders didn't get out on that candle. Those are all the VCs that dumped on you guys.
I mean, I know there is a lot of people who like altcoins, and they look for those gems, and they will invest in, thinking based on fundamentals. I literally have no clue whatsoever what this coin is about.
Yeah.
But looking at this, this is obviously a clear resistance here. It has hit that level here before. It had hit that level around this level here as well. If there is super strong fundamentals, if that team is delivering, there is a chance you're going to see this one day come back up to this level, which would be insane profits. But this coin is has a lot to prove for itself before it ever gets up there. I don't know the history here. I'm pretty much with Bleeding Crypto in terms of what happened here at the start. This was obviously launched. People that were in it before it was launched just basically dumped on the moment when it was listed. But looking at this, if you want to get back in, this is a weekly chart. I turned off all of my indicators for a second. I like a clean chart. I put in the auto fib retracement, and I talked about it the last time we were live as well, where you don't need to know how to place the fibs. You can just get that indicator in the indicator tabs for free, and you can apply it. Obviously, this is a weekly chart, so this is kind of messed up. You saw it on the daily. And what I noticed, it was actually very interesting after adding my support and resistances. We see the 382, it was actually a resistance level as well. I mean, this is slow. This looks like it's gonna top out here, most likely, if there's no volume, if there's no interest in it, and it's just gonna start rolling. There's gonna be that structure of the double top and your retracement. So keep an eye on that level here. Maybe 618, the golden pocket. It really depends on this coin. Like I said, what the guys are planning. If I turn my indicators on, the ones I look at, so you can see the green vector candles where they are. So that level here, but that was clear resistance with that big wick where it just swept that level here. Now it bounced off this twice. Those I really don't like charts with this type of wicks, because there's just no information really in it. You see the big gaps, how small the candles are, how, there's just no money in it. It must be very low liquidity coin as well. Why this is happening. Anytime even I do streams every week with Discord crowd, and there's so many different coins. That's why I have absolutely humongous list of coins on my watch list. Anytime somebody asks a request, I always look and give you, and you know it, guys, I give you always very honest opinion. Don't ever ask you to lose your mind and say, okay, this is certainly looking bullish, let's go and let's get buying. I always tell you, look at and this isn't a very new coin because it's since 2020 when I was looking back. But there was actually someone else who said it there recently, and I've been banging on about it for ages. Any coin that either has swapped hands, because there's actually several projects that launched at something else, then they changed a name, and they're now in hands of another person, and these guys apparently are trying to do something new with it. But newer coins, anything that has launched in the last 12-18 months, look at unlocks, look at vesting periods. Don't get hyped up and into and wrapped up into this I suppose naive and hopium filled and filled narrative. We're in a bear market. For a coin to do something amazing, it would have to be QNT. I had to say it. Bloody QNT has played us all dirty. This look at those levels. Like I said, this is most likely going to come back down to just below the three zeros. So I'm point. I hope you can see it, guys. 3 decimals. 3 points after the decimal. 269, and then just down to around that level 2. But potentially. Look, I have that conviction. Any coin that you really are, like any alt that you're looking into, with whether it's a small cap or something that you believe in, you need to really understand the risks and believe that it has strong fundamentals to carry it beyond your own bias.
But you also have to, man, you and I can discuss the thing for hours, because I guess I spent 20, 21 and 20, or 21 actually, inside of the DeFi space. And I was really dead set against it in the beginning, and I got sucked into it. And I was in there for a year, and I got to really understand how these projects work and where they make the money and why so many projects come out. Guys, most of these projects here will never amount to anything. And here's how they make money, guys. Besides raising the capital outside and promising you all these things, they make money on every sale you make. Most of these have a tax. They have a slippage. It's called slippage, a 10% or 20% slippage. All that money goes to them. Every time you buy the coin, they're making 10%. Every time you sell the coin, they're making 10%. They're making money coming and going. And most of these, no matter how great these fundamentals are, they're not real. They have no product yet. They're promises. So I can bring out a coin that tells you I'm going to end world hunger, and I can come up with a beautiful plan. It doesn't mean I'm going to end world hunger. You can say, yeah, this has a great purpose, it's all fake. It's not real. And that's why you have over 20,000 coins in circulation at the moment, and 20,000 more are going to come by the next bull run. And this is how they make their money. They're not here to become the next Bitcoin. They're just here to make a few million or a couple hundred million, because that's what this space is known for. They can make a couple hundred million really quick, and then they disappear. If you don't believe me, go to CoinMarketCap, click on historical snapshots. Go look at the coins that were around in 2017. Go through the entire list, and then go from number 100 to number 300. How many of those are still around? Most of them are gone. And every year you're going to have your new recycled, great fundamental coin. It's just a money grab, guys. It's a Ponzi. That's how it is. So be careful.
With majority of startups, they'll fail. Out of 90 coins, out of 100 coins, 90 will stop existing in the next 2-3 years. Market is ruthless. It's going to take really something spectacular to last and outlive and really, become a spectacular asset to hold. I know, I understand, because I've been around in the space long enough to see where the cults, where the communities come from, how they, believe in their projects. And I can see why this is also happening, because obviously everybody wants to make money, wants to believe in the greater good and what people are creating, that it's going to stand the test of time and all that. But at the end of the day, I just feel if you've made money, I don't know what it is, whether it's a total shit coin, it could have been like just created for typical pump and dump. But if you had made money on it, take it. I have people messaging me and asking me, Marta, I bought something at this price. It's at that price. Should I sell? My answer is always going to be yes. You don't have to sell everything, but if you had made profit, if you had made money, take it. Pay yourself. What are you waiting for? Like, what is this? It's a no-brainer. You are in profit, and why did you come to this market? To make money. What else are you waiting for? Pay yourself. Take enough that if you see a dump, you're not panicking that, oh my God, I've lost so much money. And then when you see it go up, you've had like a little moon bag left. There's no need to marry your bags, no matter how much you believe in the project. It's actually, guys, at the end of the day, it's the person that launched the project. They're not going to come to your house and feed your family.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So if you made money on I don't know, something that you've believed in, you're not going to get a reward or a medal for holding when everybody else is selling and they're taking their profits, and you're just a hero because I held through all of it. You're literally seeing your hard-earned money disappear and you're giving it away. You may as well have went out onto the street and gave it to strangers instead of paying yourself and taking that profit off the table. So with that I think we're going to wrap it up. We're nearing an hour and a half. There's been a lot of amazing information you shared. We're going to come back in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to have to look at that, whether we do it Thursday, Friday. But I like this slot. If it doesn't suit, we can talk about it. But I think we'll be good to come back here in 2 weeks' time again.
Sure.
My kids are... No, I'll be absolutely fine for Friday the 4th, around the same time. And we can go back, look back at XRP, what the market has done.
Yes.
What we need is just volatility, guys. It doesn't matter which way it goes. Just give us something so we can trade.
Get us out of this range already.
Absolutely. Yes. It's been head wreck. Anyway, thank you very much.
Futures is going bananas. Futures is going, it's just still going, pushing up and pushing up, and dollar is just coming down. Wow, it's incredible.
So
they're closing strong today. They're closing very strong.
Are they closing the markets now, or are they closing it in half an hour?
No, it's I believe it's 1 o'clock my time. So, which is actually, you know what? I don't know. We don't change times in Arizona, and I'm 2 hours. No, I'm 2 hours before. I think they're about to close. If they're not closing in 2 minutes, they're closing in the next half hour. Yeah. And it's going, man. They're really pushing. They're closing with a really strong note. So it's very, very notable.
Yeah, it's all going to be changed now next week, because I think our time is changing next weekend. And I'm already because I'm so confused with all those different time zones.
But you know what's interesting, Marta? That the futures keeps on pushing higher and higher, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's stuck in a shelf right now. So that's really interesting. That goes to show that we're not always correlated. And it also goes to show how weak Bitcoin is at the moment, that it's not moving up with the S&P. The S&P has been pushing for the past 3 hours to the upside, making new higher highs. Not Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been getting wicked down on the hourly time frame. So there's a lot of weakness coming in this weekend, in my opinion, for cryptocurrencies. I
feel anyway that this message, what we've been trying to tell you right now, guys, as well throughout this whole stream, it is the best time to start learning and spending time on finding what is your niche, which way, paper trading, watching your YouTubers, looking at, I don't know, books, different sort of roads to, that you want to take on to educate yourself. And there's zero, absolutely, guys, don't put yourself under pressure for starting to trade right now. I think this is actually, it's just so frustrating. It's so easy to trade when there is clear direction, and you're going to get there, and you're going to thank yourself that you've done your homeworks on it and entered the market when there was volume, volatility, and direction. Because money making is going to be like child's play then.
Yep. And when you get there, when we turn the market around and we're in a bull market, think about this, guys. Will you have capital to play, or did you blow it all on shit coins during the bear market that give you fake fundamentals? Think about that. Before you get into a project that's a new project in the bear market, they're trying to survive. They're trying to take your money. Are you going to have any money left by the time we end the bear market? Be careful, because a lot of people fall into that cycle.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for tuning in for all the comments, and we'll hope to see you here again in 2 weeks' time. Good night. Goodbye.